Tesla reporting a miss on earnings as profit slides 44%. Gross margin also taking a dip in the third quarter. Here for a deeper dive is Tasha Keeney, ARC Investment Director of Investment Analysis and Institutional Strategy. So Tasha, stock right now it's about 0.3%. Give me your take on the print here.
Yeah, well, you all did a great job of covering the highlights. So let's talk about the details. Tesla said that it doubled its AI training compute. Why does that matter? Because Tesla has this immense data advantage over peers when it comes to solving for robotaxis, because it's using its customer cars to gather information. So now we think that Tesla's getting over 2 million miles in FSD, its full self-driving software, per day. I mean, compare that to robotaxi peers. That's like half of what, Cruise, GM's effort, has gotten in its entire lifetime. So I'm really excited to hear about robotaxis on this call. We heard last quarter that there was a traditional automaker that was considering licensing Tesla's full self-driving software. I want to hear more about that. And I'm excited to hear about the launch of Tesla's own robotaxi network in the future.
I know, hey, Tasha, it's Julie here. I know that's been part of your thesis and a lot of Bull's thesis for a long time. And yet Tesla, in classic Tesla fashion, they talk about stuff for a long time before it really comes to fruition. So if that's the investable case, and not just when am I going to see robotaxi on the road, but like critical mass, right? What's the timeline for something like that?
I hear you. Elon Musk has a long history of predicting things and then being late on those timelines. He's certainly gotten better at it. But ARC has always had 2024 as the midpoint of their launch of robotaxis. So I still think that's possible. But here's like the information that we do have, right? Why should you believe Tesla's statements? Well, we're seeing these videos that they're Tesla is putting out of full self-driving capability. No hands on the wheel. They released a recent video of Austin recently, the car driving successfully on and off a highway. But more importantly, we're seeing videos from customers. And actually, someone in California did a full ride-hail ride where they don't even touch the wheel at all, just the very beginning and the end. So it looks like it's really, really close to being there, certainly in some situations, right? And then to your point, when is it going to be available everywhere? Well, I think they'll start, in the major cities where it works the best. So we'll see it in places like California and Texas, where, we know that there's a heavy density of Teslas today, and the cars drive well there. I think in the next decade, that's when we could begin to see, robotaxis dominating urban transit as a whole. So that's what we're excited about as at ARK Invest. And I think that this market could be worth, nearly $9 trillion in the next decade or so. Tesla is really the leader in this, again, because of that massive data advantage.
Let's get to the profit shortfall here for just a moment, and we'll talk about the Cybertruck as well. But automotive margin falling for the fifth straight quarter here, ex those regulatory credits, 16.3% was the margin, below the average analyst estimate. Is this a problem for Tesla?
So, yeah, we expected margins to decline. We know that price cuts there's been significant price cuts over the past quarter. We even heard Elon say in the last call that they could continue to cut prices because of interest rates, because of, how consumers are feeling, and they need the cars to be affordable. But let's talk about the big picture, right? A Model 3 is actually cheaper than the average car in the US. That is huge. Electric vehicles are continuing to grow at a rate that's much faster than their gas-powered counterparts. So I think that's the long-term story here. So yes, I would expect it to affect margins in the short term. Long term, our estimate is that Tesla could get margins that are around 50% with electric vehicles and autonomy by 2027. So that's, again, what we're excited about. And autonomy really changes that whole profitability profile, because we think a robotaxi network could be a services business where, again, you'd get really attractive cash flow coming off of each vehicle per year, right? It's not just a one-off sale anymore. So, I think it's affected. I would consider it a short-term metric. We do see them bringing costs down out of the car continually. They did that again this quarter. I expect that to keep happening. And they're riding down a cost decline curve that no one else can keep up with on electric vehicles, especially since they're so vertically integrated on batteries. So I'd be much more concerned about traditional autos and their competitors than I would be about Tesla.
And Tasha, what about the Cybertruck? We heard today production remains on track for later this year. First delivery is scheduled for November 30th. What do you think demand is going to be like for that truck, Tasha? How much of a tailwind do you think that's going to be for Tesla?
Yeah, I think the Cybertruck could be huge. We have some research about it on the ARK Invest website. My colleague Sam Kors has done a lot of great work. We've looked at Google Trends information, and it overlaps, really well with areas in the U.S. where we have that, very interested truck buyers today. So I think some people think this will be a niche vehicle platform. I don't think so. If I was Ford, who's, they're already cutting the production shift at the F-150 Lightning plant in Detroit, I'd see more trouble coming for them ahead as the Cybertruck rolls out. I mean, maybe that's even why they're cutting production. Maybe people are holding out because they see that Cybertruck delivery deadline right around the corner. And when we saw a vehicle go for $400,000, one of the early reservations this past quarter, it's obviously a multiple of the purchase price. I mean, it's already a collector's item before it's even in consumers' hands. I mean, that's just the power of the Tesla brand. So I'm excited for it.
Tasha Keeney, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.